everyone. Hello, sir. I am Abhinav, today's Expert Talk session host, led by ESL of NIT Jamshedpur. We have Mr. Shivam Gupta, sir. He is the head of the company, the Affordable Organic Store, which is founded in 2021 by his father, Mr. Kamal Gupta, sir. He is a retired Airforce officer, and Shivam, sir, has completed his engineering from NIT Calicut. My first question to him: Sir, you can please introduce yourself briefly, and also can you please say something about your company, what it does? Because listening to your words will have a greater impact on our viewers.
Sure. Thank you, Abhinav, for an e-cell of NIT Jamshedpur for giving me this opportunity to come and speak about my experience of running a small startup. So I am representing the Affordable Organic Store. It's online gardening startup. So we are into sales of plants, seeds, manure, and anything that you require for gardening. The the forte of the company, as the name suggests, is that it's very affordable. And how we came up with this idea was that we realized that there are a lot of people who want to do something sustainable. There are people who want to probably do gardening, there are people who want to do recycling, but a lot of times cost becomes a barrier for them to start any initiative. So when I say that, even if you want to start gardening in your house today, or you want to grow some vegetables, the first thing that you will do is you'll go online or you'll go to nearby gardening places and try to buy some seeds. And from our experience, we found that buying seeds was very expensive because you don't get seeds in small quantities. Generally, all the seed packets are designed for farmers or they are designed for specialist gardeners. And you would have at least a packet coming for 100 to 150 rupees or above, plus shipping charges if you're ordering online. And that's where we felt that if it's so expensive for a person, and in your house, generally people have small houses these days with maybe a balcony garden with four or five pots, and they want to grow maybe five different vegetables into those pots. And if you want to buy five seeds variety of 150 rupees each, you'll end up spending close to 1,000 rupees. And since you're a beginner into gardening, it will be very difficult for you to get anything. Sometimes you may get lucky and you may get some tomatoes, but a lot of times for beginners, it's an experience. So they learn with the difficulties, they learn with challenges, and losing 1,000 rupees in the first go itself becomes a little disheartening, and a lot of people leave gardening. And that's when we thought that if we can create a package which is valid for balcony gardeners, where they have a small pot and in that pot they want to probably grow tomato or chili or capsicum, then they should not be hesitant. They should not be feeling that we are spending so much money. And that's where we came up with this packaging where you can buy seeds, you can buy manure, you can buy anything that is required for a pot. So if you look at it, our cost starts from 5 rupees. So we have seeds and we have seeds, manual starting at 5 rupees, and it goes all the way to 20 to 25 rupees. So for a gardener, it becomes the cost barrier goes away, right? If you're starting gardening in your house, it's so much more easy for you to spend 150 rupees, and we give free delivery above 150 rupees. So for a starting gardener, so easy, just 150 rupees you shell out, you will get some seeds, do some experiment. If you fail, you try again, right? And that's where we saw that the moment we started this, there was a lot of demand, and we started with 10 varieties of seeds. Now we have more than 200 varieties of seeds, flower plants, herbs, vegetables, especially catering the households. And then we have started small plants also, which are very affordable again for gardeners. So that's how our journey has been so far.
Okay. Nice to hear that. Uh, Sir, can you tell us about what led you to start your entrepreneurial journey? As because you were an engineer, so how did you choose between a job and an entrepreneurship? What clicked in your mind to start this new journey?
Great. This is I think even before going to engineering, I always had this in my mind that I wanted to do something that was into sustainability, something that could probably help the environment to improve. And so I chose mechanical engineering. And I thought that maybe after that I'll work in green energy and do something better. And on the contrary, after graduation, I joined an oil and gas company. So I was working in the completely opposite field. I wanted to do something that was contributing to the environment, and now I was contributing to polluting the environment. So I worked there for 4 years, but always in the back of my mind, I had this that I want to do something more sustainable. So from there, I joined, but never had the courage to start. Right. So it's very difficult to take that first step. So from there, I joined the startup called Ether Energy. So Ether is into electric scooters, and it was a very smooth transition because I wanted to do something that was into sustainability. Ether was into sustainability. I joined it at the time when the team was less than 100 people, and I was responsible for the battery production. So and when I worked there, it was a very transforming time for me because there I learned that people, if they have passion about something, they would work n number of hours for it. So, and then I realized that maybe I can do a lot more. And from there, I I went to join another startup called Sits Farm. So it's into organic milk, and there our aim was how do we provide pure and organic milk to the end consumer, because we see that a lot of people these days don't have access to antibiotics-free milk, and antibiotics intolerance is becoming a very big health concern. So I worked there for again 4 to 5 years, and during that time I realized that there was this another opportunity that I could take up, and gradually, like this started as an experiment. We thought that we will give it a try. So it was part of my journey of Sits Farm that we were trying to see what better we can do towards environment, and we started with a very small online page. So we did not even build a website. We started with a Facebook page and started showing some ads to people regarding gardening and if they're interested. And there was a lot of response there at that time. So that motivated us to build a website, then build a website. Then gradually the transition happened very smooth. But at the back of my mind, there was this question always that what can I do better? And I think that has brought us to this place.
Okay, sir. In this era of technological and IT sector explosion, you chose to better environment friendly startup. It was great to hear about that. Uh,
Thank you.
so, sir, starting an entrepreneurial journey, so how you decided to form a team and how you chose your team members?
Okay, so I think team is definitely very, very important, and at different point you would need different skill sets. So the first thing for us was because ours was a bootstrap startup. So at the least cost, what is the or at the whatever cost we can afford, what is the best team that we can make? And I went around talking to my friends from college and from other places, and some of them they agreed to help. And our initial core team was very strong, where we had multiple people from different from very strong educational backgrounds, and so that became the leadership team. And then at the bottom, we started filling the roles for different execution. Like for operations, we needed a warehouse, we needed people to work there. So initial team came from my network, where whoever I talked to and people like the idea, they came in. And I think more than the remuneration or the salary part of it, a lot of people came because of their motivation. And now we actively hire. So we are now building team. We are trying to increase our salary costs as well, and hiring from different colleges. We are trying to go to better colleges, and hiring across the board. Like we have people who come from agricultural background, we have people who come from commerce, marketing, content. So now it's a proper corporate hiring. But when we started, it came more from network only.
Yes, sir. So currently, what is the team size of your team?
Currently, we have 50 odd people working for us, both online and offline.
Oh, nice. Uh, so, sir, can you please tell us about the some of the challenges that you faced in this journey?
Okay, I think a lot of it was momentary, because when you start a startup, I think you try to think that you know a lot of things, but a lot of things you learn on the go. And for us, realizing that so for growth we need people, the right kind of people. We need to have the right kind of skills also. So acquiring those skills, acquiring those people was a little bit challenging. Also, we were working in an industry where we needed to have certain licenses, certain compliances had to be followed. So ensuring that we are meeting those compliances was also a challenge, because a lot of times we don't understand the importance of government paperwork. And it's equally important that you have sorted all your license requirements before you get into a big trouble. So I think those and because I did not have much exposure to those things before I started this startup, so it was very difficult to learn how different people work. But yeah, so that was more difficult part. Acquiring customers was not as difficult, because we have done this in the previous startup. But people can have difficulty in acquiring customers as well.
Okay, nice. Uh, Moving to our next question. So, if you were given a choice of being in a reputed job or your own company in that initial stage where you started, so how would you choose between them, and what will be the major key factors that will govern that?
I think a lot of us like would prefer the freedom of making decisions of your own, right? So I think that's one of the things that you have in startups. And in a startup, things move really, really fast. If you push things, then you can make a lot of changes very quickly. As compared to, so I came from an oil and gas background, which is very, and my company was very large. They were very process driven. It was a multinational company. So I learned that at a large company, you cannot change a lot of things. There are a lot, even if you don't, you feel that there are some improvements that you can make, and by the time you apply for those improvements and they get approved, you may no longer be there in that company. And I still remember that when I was part of my first oil and gas company, I proposed a small design change in one of the equipments, and it went for approval, and it took forever. It never came back. So I don't know whether they still have approved it or not. But as compared to all, like when I work for startups, there's a lot more freedom that way. You can do a lot of changes pretty fast. So I still enjoy that. Large companies have their own benefits too. Like if you work with them, this like startups can get stressful some days. Like and there's always something that's bothering you. And during different times in your career, you would need different kind of stability. Like once you start having a family, or once you start raising your kids, I think you need little more time, and you won't have as much energy to spend on your business as you would initially when you are young in your career. So at this stage, I think I'm still little young to keep doing the startup, but let's see how this goes forward.
Okay. So, what should be the mindset of people starting their own company? How should the thought process should be, and how should they think about their problems?
Sure. That's a so there are a couple of things. I think during my last 10 to 12 years journey of learning about businesses, I think there are some points that I feel that if you're doing a startup, you should always keep in your mind. The first and foremost important point is law of land, right? Wherever you are working, you should know what is the rule there. I've seen startups which have started great, they were making great revenue, but they were not aware that whatever they were doing was not legal. And so sometimes something as simple as this. So, for example, I had one friend of mine, and he started the startup where they would provide meals into the trains. Now, this facility is very easily available. There are different apps that you can order meals into the train from. But like 12 years ago, this was not legal. Only IRCTC was allowed to serve meals into the trains, and he was not aware of this. So the moment the government came to know about it, there was a lot of repercussions, and he had to shut his business down. So, like when you get into your business, at least try to know what are the rules, and where you can get into trouble, or what is the need thing to do. And a lot of times you would not know, but try to learn from other people who are experienced into it. There are some things that you can always move around. There's some things that you have to always comply to. So law of land is definitely very important. The second thing is, like, don't be very passionate about your idea. At some point, you'll realize that your idea is not a king. For example, when I work for a dairy company, uh, it's very simple, right? Farmers, like every village has its own dairy. Like there are a lot of people who are raising cows and they're selling milk, and all of them are doing a good job. Like, but then what is the need of starting an organic dairy farm, and what would an organic dairy farm do? But just imagine the scale at which uh, you have to do milk testing if you want to ensure that pure milk is going to the customer. And that's where the complexity comes. So when you start with this idea that I will start a dairy farm, a lot of people will not even understand like what different can you do in a dairy farm. Like everyone will treat that he's just another doodwala. What is he doing, right? But delivering milk to 1 lakh customers in a day and collecting money from them itself is a very big thing. And the amount of technology that you would need to do that kind of work is significantly much more than what a regular milkman would have, right? And that's where you like if you are very passionate that this is my idea. Generally, things like something as common as selling milk can be a great idea, right? And that's where my next point also comes in, that the money is in the details, right? So you will not find money in the, like from the outside when you start a business, you feel that I will sell my stuff at this cost, and this is my margin, this is how I'll make money. But when you run the business, your costs will change, irrespective of how good you are in calculation, irrespective of how good you are in planning. All these numbers will change. So don't be very picky about that. I'll do only this idea, and this is how it will work. Let go with the flow, and whatever comes, do the best there, and then things will work. The final thing that I'll say is support is very important. Like your family support, your friends support. Like I don't think you can do it without uh, all that support around you. And your days are going to become very difficult initially. So you'll need all kind of support. And during those times, it's very easy to say quit, right? Because you will have all the best options around you. But make sure that like during those times, at least you don't have negative people around you who are telling you that quit, because it's very easy to quit at that time. So these are some things that people can keep in mind.
Okay. So the law of land and the right product market fit, and the last one was
Support.
support. These are the three main points.
Yes, yes.
So usually student entrepreneurs hesitate to start their own journey. So
Yes.
what should they first think about, and how should they approach towards their journey? If you were a student, what would be your approach?
I think as a student, you have some advantages, some disadvantages. Like if you're in college, the biggest advantage that you have is you have access to beautiful labs and very knowledgeable professors and a lot of time in your hand. And but what you don't have probably is what are the problems. Like a lot of times people would think that I don't know what should I solve for, and that's where probably if you are in like these kind of talks, or if you get an opportunity to interact with your alumni and understand their businesses, do internships, spend time with businesses, then you will be able to do a lot better. Because now when I look at it, I feel that there are so many problems that a person can solve. But when I back then in college, I was not sure whether the problem that I'm solving is worth or not. Also, another thing that students definitely should do is from their first year itself, engage with as many startups as possible. And when I say that, like, even if there's a local kirana store near your house, or like there's some industry in your relatives thing, try to go there in your summer vacation, your winter vacation. Tell them that I want to know more about your business, or maybe just work with you. Don't if they don't pay you, also it's okay. But at least that type of exposure that you'll have, especially when you work with someone who's the owner of a business, and you see how he or she makes their decisions, is lot more valuable. And only when you are able to see their perspective, like a lot of problems will get automatically solved for you. You would know, like a lot of decisions would get corrected for you before you even start this. So for me also, this worked a lot. Like before doing my own startup, I worked for two startups, and I did a small gig in another startup. So all those experiences now when I look back, they help me a lot. And the final thing would be that as a student entrepreneur, a good thing that you'll have is a lot of free resource. Like all the people around you are a resource, right? Everyone is so smart, so intelligent in your college. So you can always go to someone's room and you can ask him, can you help me with this? And people will be happy to do that. But staying focused is also a difficult thing.
The last question for this session will be to if you can please share the most important tip for the new entrepreneurs, that will be a much help for them. So please.
Sure. So, see, when I look at it, right, different people have different journeys, and as a you have to make your own path. But one thing that is common is that you can never change certain things. So, for example, if any company is hiring employees at a particular cost, you cannot discount that cost. You have to assume in your business model that those costs will come to you. So never make business models thinking about things that currently are not possible. Always in your business model have like the calculations that you should do is based on what you have currently and what is the best that you can. And the second thing would be that if you are starting a business and you feel that for that business you need 10 lakhs, then you should have at least 30 lakhs in your pocket. Because when you start a business thinking that it will take 10 lakhs, it will take at least double that amount. So it will take 20 lakhs or it will take more than that. So never run a business on a very shoestring budget that my calculation saying it's 10 lakhs, it will work at 10 lakhs. It will never happen, right? All those on paper calculations change. And another advice would be start small. Do not be afraid of starting and do something every day. Like don't take it like today I'll finish everything and then I'll go. That doesn't happen. Like, because in startup every day you will have a new challenge. So your energy is the most important thing. You have to be a marathoner, not a sprinter. It's not a 100-meter run. You have to run the marathon and you have to run it daily for the next 5 years, 10 years of your life. So you can't go home upset for one day. Like you have to have the same energy, same tempo, and then it will work out, right? It's not going to be like a sprint, a one day run, and then it will be over. And the good thing about startups is that it gives you next day. Like any exam that we write. So for example, if you write UPSC and all, if you fail once, then you have next year to come back and then you do it. In startups, you have next day. Like you get up again and then you try it again, and then you sleep and then you get up again and then you try it again. It's so nice. So all these things make will make life better.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for your very interesting and mind enriching thoughts about this entrepreneurial journey. I hope this will be very impactful for the new upcoming entrepreneurs and also the students who want to learn more about the entrepreneurship. So this
Thank
session
you,
is
Abhinav.
going to be an end. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Abhinav.
the
Thank you for this.
team Affordable Organic Store. Thank you, the whole team.